Okay, so last week you were an atheist and this week you're a Muslim. What convinced you that Islam is true?
What the hell would be the utility of a God predicting Bluetooth instead of the transatlantic slave trade, instead of the Holocaust? Well, you know what I'm saying?
Hi everyone, thanks for watching. Most of the content on my channel is supported by generous patrons, but made available for free to the entire world. If you support that, please consider adding your support at patreon.com/atheistdebates. This clip, however, is from one of the many programs that I do on YouTube on The Line. And if you liked it, feel free to visit, like, subscribe, and watch The Line Network live. Thank you. This will be perhaps interesting. Jason's calling from the UK with proof of God and says he was an atheist last week. Jason, were you a skeptic last week?
Hi, yeah. Like, can you hear me all right, firstly?
Yeah. If you just answer the question, you'd know.
Yeah. I used to be an atheist. Yeah.
That's not what I asked. That's not what I asked. That's not what I asked.
Sorry.
Were you a skeptic? Wow. If you're not even going to listen, were you a skeptic?
Like, do you mean like I didn't trust that God was real? Is that what you mean?
Okay. No, you just answered the question. Go ahead and continue. You weren't a skeptic. Good. So last week you were an atheist, and this week you're a God believer. Which God?
Yeah, I believe in Allah. Yeah, like Islam. Yeah.
Okay. So last week you were an atheist, and this week you're a Muslim. What convinced you that Islam is true?
Yeah. So like, it was a couple of things. So I'll just quickly go with like this experience I had. So I live in London, and I was walking down the street, and basically all of a sudden there was like an imam, you know, like one of them Muslim preachers on the street. And he said to me, like, I didn't talk to him at all before. I didn't know him from nowhere. And he come to me and he said, like, are you looking for like meaning in your life? And I promise you, I never met him before. And that was exactly what I was thinking. That was exactly what was going on in my heart. And he came right then and there and then said it to me. And I was like, this in itself is already some kind of like spooky, miraculous thing.
Why?
Wow.
So let me ask you this, Jason. Do you think a lot of people are looking for meaning in their life?
Yeah, like, yeah. I mean,
these are simple, straightforward questions. So yes, a lot of people are looking for meaning in their life. Do you think that both Muslims and Christians and other religions have advocates and preachers, imams and things who believe that their religion offers people meaning in their life?
I think that, that makes sense. Yeah.
Do you think that it would be a good idea for these people to approach people and say, are you looking for meaning in your life? Because they're more likely to get a positive response than a negative one, right?
Yeah. But like, it was more than that.
What is so remarkable? What is so remarkable that someone asked you if you were looking for meaning in your life, and you were?
Yeah. So like, that's just how like the conversation started. So I mean, basically it's what happened afterwards, right?
Okay, but before we move on, can you go ahead and admit that that's not miraculous then? Because before we move on, can you go ahead and admit that part is not impressive, not miraculous, and not in any shape, form, or fashion evidence of a God?
I think I'd call it maybe not miraculous, but like spooky. Like it spooked me out. Is that
what is
like it kind of spooked me out?
Jason, what could possibly be spooky about someone trying to sell their product coming up and giving the tagline that sells their product? Why is that spooky?
I think because it was literally like going right through my head, and then this guy was on the street corner and I saw him and he said it. Like, that's what made it like spooky. It was like a specific timing kind of thing. Does that make sense?
No.
I feel like you've been in a few ML.
I mean, what I mean is like, I know people think about meaning to life, like generally, right? But I was in that moment as I was walking down the street, asking them questions about like, is there a God? Like, what am I doing with my life?
Asking new questions.
Like in my head, I mean, like in my head, I was thinking about these things, right? And then this guy, I kid you not, 10 seconds later, I turn around the corner and he comes up to me. He says like, hey, I don't know you, but like, are you looking for meaning in your life? And that,
would it have been, so 10 seconds later, would it have been impressive 30 seconds later, 5 minutes later, 1 hour later? At what point after you've had the thought is it no longer miraculous?
Maybe like, if it was like, maybe like an hour. Yeah, I think like an hour is quite reasonable.
Cool.
Yeah.
How many times a day? How many times a day do you think people have thoughts like that?
I mean, all I can know is me personally. I think about it like pretty often. Yeah, like pretty often. Not every day, but like maybe like most days. Yeah.
So you think about it pretty often. So what are the odds that if an imam walks up and says, "Hey, are you looking for meaning in your life?" that you either recently were thinking of meaning or will remember that you were recently thinking of meaning? Isn't that going to be pretty much all the time?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think I can agree with you there. Yeah, I can agree with you. But I think, can I say the next thing that he said to me?
Sure.
That the imam said to me. So this was where it got like more like spooky, in to use the word I was saying.
It's not spooky yet.
I can't remember. Okay, but it's gonna get spooky. I promise you, you're gonna love this, right? So basically, and I'm sorry if I can't remember the exact quote, but what he said, it was like, you know, the hadith in Islam, or like you got the Quran and then the like hadith books or something. You heard of that?
Yes.
Yeah. So like he was reading one of them hadith, and he said that basically it was something like in the like mouths of animals, like a camel or something like that, it will resemble like the color of the sky on a clear day. Now think about, what is the color of the sky on a clear day, like typically?
Dude, are you saying a riddle convinced you to believe in God?
No. Wait, I promise I'll explain it. But like, just trust me.
No, explain it now, dude. Hey, dude, okay, bro, I am so not interested. Like, please get to the point.
Yeah. So basically, this guy proved to me, or he showed me from the hadith, that there was a scientific prophecy in the hadith because they predicted the concept of Bluetooth, right? You see what I mean?
Okay, you're joking, right? You're not remotely serious.
No, but would you get to that? Would you get that a miracle?
Jason, instead of wasting all of our time, would you get to the punchline or the baba booey or whatever the joke is you're trying to get out and record?
No, but as in, like, if hadith or Quran makes predictions about technology or things that weren't around that time.
It doesn't, Jason. It doesn't. This is beneath stupid.
Oh my goodness.
Why not?
The Quran doesn't mention Bluetooth.
Oh no, not the Quran. Yeah, I agree. Not the Quran. It was a hadith.
The hadith doesn't mention Bluetooth either.
Like, okay, I mean, I can't remember the citation, but that was like, he said like it was Ibn Umar or something like that, and he said there was like a predict. Okay, put it this way, like, if there was a prediction of Bluetooth,
Jason,
would that be a miracle?
Just for one moment. No, it wouldn't, Jason. Sorry. No. You sound like somebody who is susceptible to scams. I want to ask you a question that it seems that you have not thought about. What the hell would be the utility of a God predicting Bluetooth instead of the transatlantic slave trade, instead of the Holocaust? Well, you know what I'm saying? What is it? This is what you're convinced by. Like, you're convinced by a parlor trick. So if I go out there and get a book that says, hey, this book predicted watches, you now believe in God? How do you make that leap? Do you see how so far the first thing you presented to us is something that can happen to anybody at any moment? Because if I asked you right now, how do you define any activity that any human being that is not in search of meaning, you would have a hard time drawing that line, demonstrating Matt's point that if you basically go out and ask anybody, are you looking for meaning right now? It's going to be an important moment for them. So you fell for that scam, even though we highlighted for you why that happened that way. You still said, no, I still think it's spooky. It's just still spooky. And here's something that's even more spookier. Here's this random hadith that I can't even remember, though it was the most important moment in my life. But I can't even remember the words right. And the thing that was the most important thing in my life, the thing that convinced me that there is a God and this God is Allah and it is the God of Islam, is that there's a freaking quote that talks about something that somebody told me is a Bluetooth. You have no idea how many holes are in that, how many jumps you have to make. There's no coherency there.
What's the Shahada?
La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasul Allah. I think something like that.
And you converted yesterday?
No, it was like maybe like 3 days ago now. 3 days ago now. Yeah.
3 days.
But I think
3 days ago you were an atheist walking down the street, and now you're a Muslim quoting the Shahada. And I'm assuming you know all the 5 pillars of Islam as well.
Yeah, I'm working on trying to consider one day getting to Hajj and doing Mecca and all that stuff. But
man, I wanted to. I must admit, never in the 20 years that I've been doing this have I run across someone who was an atheist 3 days ago and who knows and understands Islam to the extent that you do. Like just from an imam. I don't even count it as a parlor trick, because it's not a parlor trick. It's bullshit. It's a bullshit interpretation of the Quran, which Muslims are fond of doing. So let me ask you this: are you okay? Are you okay with Muhammad raping a child?
I don't know about that.
Like, you don't know about that. How old was his wife when they consummated the marriage?
I thought he had like 5 wives, so like I'm not sure which
how old was the one that I'm talking about when they got married? Wasn't she 9? Is it okay to marry 9-year-olds?
I wouldn't think so. No, that's not how I've been
You wouldn't,
raised,
but you follow because somebody convinced you that the Quran or Hadith 1 predicted Bluetooth. Now you're going to follow a pedophile.
What? No, wait. It wasn't because of just the Bluetooth, and it wasn't just because of the meaning to life. It's because he
so there's
introduced
other
me
things
like,
that'll make you be okay with following the pedophile.
Yeah. What things make you okay with following a pedophile?
Well, he shared with me a person called like Abu Plantinga or something like that. Peace be upon him. And
okay, now Jason, before you dig this hole, I want you to make sure the question you're answering is.
No, this is a fake. He just outed himself as an absolute, complete, and total fraud. Alvin Plantinga is a Christian philosopher. Jason, you just stepped over the line to where I now obviously know and have your IP address that you are a fraud, just sitting here mocking Muslims. If I wanted to engage in mocking Muslims, I don't need your help or anybody else's help to do it. Islam is not any more real in demonstration than any other religion, and it is morally corrupt and bankrupt, just as Christianity is. Fuck Muhammad, fuck Jesus, fuck Yahweh, Allah, God, all of them. They are all repugnant. So I'm going to take you off mute, Jason, so you can apologize for being a lying troll and then hang up. So apologize. Never mind, I don't need your fucking apology.
Well, damn.
It doesn't matter what your apology is.
Oh, man.
I knew it. This is
wild.
An unbelievable story, start to finish. Hey, I'm walking along, minding my own business, thinking about the meaning of life, when an imam walks up to me and says, hey, are you thinking about the meaning of life? Here, let me introduce you to Alvin Plantinga.
Oh, man.
Converted.
That's wild, man.
Yeah. He probably had a Bluetooth earbud in his ear with some Muslim friend feeding him information. Also, he didn't say peace be upon him.
Oh, this is true.